And we are live. We want the gold, sucker. We want the gold, sucker. And welcome to another edition of the It's Real Wrestling Podcast. This week, I'm your boy Ben Goosen. I got a little news for you. I'm riding solo this week. My boy, my partner in crime, we're breaking it off with this hot news first. Sage the Mark is gone to a better place. He's no longer with us. I want to apologize to everybody. He's decided to go on a vacation for this week. You thought I was going to say he was gone for the week, but no, he ain't gone for good. Look, I'm stumbling on my own words. He ain't gone for good. He is going to be back with us next week. He's got some exciting things going on. We are in contact. I don't know if we're going to get the cat. I don't know if we're going to get the dude. I don't know, but we're in contact with someone who will be in San Antonio in a couple weeks. And I'm not talking about the ROH that I'm going to next month. Live here in San Antonio. NXT is in Houston the next day. Survivor Series in Houston the next day. I might go to that. I might go check that out. Not sure yet. But I'm talking about San Antonio, Alamo City Comic-Con, the Horror Fest. We're trying to reach out to some talent. Come talk to us. Come talk to us for a bit. You know, I've always thought something. Let me tell you something. I've always thought something. There's connections with wrestling fans. Wrestling fans and the horror community. For some reason, wrestling fans love horror. And when is a better time to talk about it than right now? Because look, here's the way I think about it. We've seen gimmicks. Think about it. Undertaker, Kane, Bray Wyatt, the Demon. Wrestling fans love themselves some horror. And it's a great month to talk about it because we're in the month of October. Halloween's coming up. If you get a chance, hit us up. We'll send you last week's very first. We're coming up on the second Halloween edition, a special Halloween edition podcast, which we'll have for you here in a couple weeks. What, 2 weeks? 2 weeks. It's already coming up. So we'll have a very special edition of the IRWP Halloween episode coming up. I think it'll be a good one. Your boy, Sage the Mark, myself, we'll be back at it, doing our thing. But hey, look, enough about Sage the Mark, because the brother ain't here. You know what I'm saying? So this is my chance. Maybe I should go off on him. Maybe I should talk about how he got a bad fade. How his fade probably looked bad before he went on his trip. His nice little vacay. Maybe I should talk about his fade, how it looked nasty. How the part looked bad. How it looked like somebody spilled oil on top of his head and didn't clean it up all that way. No, I ain't even going to talk about that. I can't hate on my boy. Much love out to you, Sage Mark. Hopefully you get to listen to the podcast on the plane trip in. But hey, let's get into it. Last week you heard our predictions for Hell in a Cell. You heard the predictions. You heard them yourself. What up, Silky Mel Johnson? What up? And you're right. We did call it about Bray Wyatt, didn't we? I said last week I could see him wearing a dress, and it wouldn't even look bad because I could see him pulling it off. Shout out to Mel Johnson. For those of you listening to the audio podcast, you can tune in every Thursday night. We do this about 9 Central Time, sometimes 9:30. Depends on the old technology. I didn't think I was going to be up today. My internet provider, I'll call him out, AT&T, just went down for a bit. But your boy got it fixed. So we're doing this live. But yeah, we called it right about Bray Wyatt. I'll get into my Raw review in just here in a moment. Hell in a Cell. Let me know what you thought. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up anywhere. Anywhere. Ben_Goosen at Sage Mark on Twitter. On the YouTube live feed. Join the chat. Love to hear from you. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really like the card. I didn't like the show. So the card itself, I thought it was decent. I'm not going to lie. I watched it with my boy Dobby Amore. Stephen Thatch, he joined in. If ever you want to watch these pay-per-views, I watch them, each and every one of them live on Xbox. Ben Goosen on Xbox. Hit me up. We play a couple games. Play some Rocket League Friday the 13th. I think I'm going to cop, Dead by Daylight here soon. I'm going to cop that one. I heard my boy Freddie, we were talking about horror and how it relates to WWE. My boy Freddie might be making an appearance in Dead by Daylight. That's the rumor going around right now. Freddie's going to join. We got Michael Myers. We got Leatherface already in the joint. So hit me up. You can watch this pay-per-view. So I was watching the pay-per-view. And I got to say, and I got to agree with Silky Mel Johnson. Highlight of the night. And we called it last week. I think everybody thought they knew it was coming. The tag team match, the New Day versus the Usos in that Uso penitentiary. Man, I'll tell you, I went into that match thinking these guys have had at this point probably close to 5 good matches, 5 excellent matches. And I went in thinking flat out, this might be a gimmick match. Maybe they won't be able to have a good match. Maybe we're not going to get that good of a match. That's what I truly thought. I thought maybe I'm going to overhype it. It's like when you go see a movie. You overhype it. You think it's going to be way better than it is. It's going to be the GOAT movie, best movie of all time, and ends up being terrible. Ends up being horrible. I've thought that about a bunch of movies. First Wolverine that came out, the one with Ryan Reynolds. I thought that movie was going to be great. Sabretooth was in it, and it was horrible. Terrible movie. Thought that about a bunch of movies. Jurassic World. I thought that movie was going to be the biggest blockbuster of all time. It wasn't a terrible movie. It didn't meet my expectations at all. But I overhyped it mentally. That's my fault. I was watching trailers on YouTube every day and everything. This match here, the tag team match, the Usos versus the New Day, I came into it thinking this match has got potential. Let me not overhype it. And it delivered. It was different. Every one of their matches before had close falls, tag team wrestling. This was just let's get 2 teams, fun weapons. Let's not kid around. Let's just beat the hell out of each other and see what happens. And there was over 20 kendo stick shots delivered. I'm going to have to look into it. Or if you're listening, look into it and tell me, was this a record for most kendo stick shots in one match of all time? I think it was. It should have been. It should have been easily. And the X-Man took it like a champ. Damn, that was the match of the night by far. By far, great match. They showed each other respect on SmackDown this week. I don't know where we're going with the tag team division on SmackDown. The Fashion Police are apparently definitely back in action. I don't know if the Hype Bros are heel or face. I think the tag team division is interesting, to say the least, on SmackDown. But that was definitely the match of the night. Underperforming match of the night, I got to admit. Jinder. I'm a fan. I'm a brother that's half Indian. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. Love what you done. The hard work. The dedication. But I just didn't feel it. I was trying to get into this match. Shinsuke Nakamura with his entrance. That'll always get me into something. And I thought, you know what? At the end of the day, regardless of what I thought a few days ago after watching the entrances, watching the card, I thought, you know what? Shinsuke's going to win this. Shinsuke's going to win this one. And here's my issue with the match. It wasn't that great of a match. I have yet to see a great Jinder Mahal match. I like his character. I like what he does. He looks the part. He's a big dude. He for sure looks the part. He was what, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and jacked. Work on the mic is doing all right. He's a true heel, not the cool heel that we have these days. And I just haven't seen a great match from him yet. I have not seen a good match for him at all. They're not terrible. They're average. But I'd just love to see, that one match where I say, man, this dude can go. Rusev has a similar gimmick, and he's had several matches, especially against John Cena, where you say, man, this dude can go. This dude's got it. He can go. So it was just underperforming. I wanted to see more out of the match. I thought there was potential for a couple close falls. Now, here's what maybe hurt it for me. I'm okay with Jinder getting the W. Unfortunately, I don't want Shinsuke to lose, but maybe it'll just make it for whenever he eventually does win the title. It'll make it that much more special. Here's what I didn't like. I didn't like that the modern day Maharaja hit his finisher just once on Shinsuke Nakamura in 2 matches in a row. And Shinsuke lost fair. This is a guy who kicked out of the AA, 2 months ago and beat John Cena? You're telling me he's barely getting over? barely getting over on Jinder Mahal. This is a guy who wrecked shop in NXT. He beat Samoa Joe clean. This is a guy who's barely getting over Jinder. So if this is their way, and people will say, well, you know, they're going to India. They got stuff going on. They're going to India. They want Jinder. Listen, you can go to India with Jinder not being the champion and still get a great reaction, an outstanding reaction from the crowd out there. Outstanding. But maybe if they're going to India, they want him to represent as the champ. Or maybe what if you had Nakamura? What if you had Nakamura win? He's the champ. And the end game, maybe the end game is to put the title on Jinder. And then you have him win in India. Problem solved. Listen, problem solved. Issue's gone. You make a lot of money in India. Listen to this. You know what that is? That's me washing my hands of the problem. You make the American fans happy for a bit, then Jinder comes back with extra heat. And then you think, oh man, Nakamura's just, was he a transitional champ? Was it a temporary thing? Was this just to get India over? And then Jinder comes back with more heat. That's what I would have done. I'm not a booker. Probably not even qualified to be one, to be honest with you. But that's personally, if you just asked me, that's what I would have done. The rest of the card, I thought the Kevin Owens-Shane McMahon match was good. Like I mentioned, not match of the night, it was good. Tag team match was definitely match of the night. You know, Silky Mel Johnson in the chat saying a new tag team's coming to SmackDown. I can't wait to see who that is. Can't wait for AOP to make their SmackDown or Raw debut. The Kevin Owens match I thought was good when it got to the top of the cage because it built up anxiety. At the end of the day, you knew no one was going through the top of that cage. Or did you? I thought it might have accidentally broke. We were all hoping, man, is this thing going to accidentally break? Is it not? What's going on? What's going to happen? And it built up that heightened anxiety. I don't know if you saw this when you watched the show, but when you watch the show live, if you watch it, when they panned out, the audience was standing up the whole time they were on the top of that cage. Kevin Owens takes the bump through the table. We were a fan of that. Shane climbs to the top. And then we had the biggest heel turn of the year thus far. Sami Zayn turning heel. The best friends. Sami Zayn turns heel. Great moment. Nobody saw it coming at all. Sami Zayn saves his best friend. I didn't see it coming. I thought it was amazing. Camera work could have panned back a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit later. He could have wore the hoodie for a little while, dressed up like a cameraman or something. But hey, I'll take it. So at the end of the day, we had a plot twist. That's exactly what we had. We had a plot twist. Randy Orton goes over pretty easy on Rusev, unfortunately. I thought it would have been a big moment if Rusev, with that reversal into the Accolade, I thought that would have been a great way for him to just flat out win. Would have put him over. At this point, I don't think Randy Orton, he knows what he's doing in the ring. He's got his position. He's solid. He doesn't need to win. He doesn't need to lose. He doesn't win it. He doesn't need a championship. He's just a guy who's always going to be, popular in the fans' eyes, or a heel when he wants to be a heel. U.S. title changing hands. I didn't really have a problem with that because I think it'll set up for an eventual feud with down the line, Ty Dillinger and Baron Corbin. They could fight over that title for a bit. It gets Ty Dillinger on TV. Charlotte and Talia, I'm glad that they're going somewhere with it in the future because I just don't see anything. I didn't see much out of the match. I'm just glad they're waiting and going for something in the future. But that brings me to SmackDown. Let's just go straight to SmackDown, right? We had a great show. Had a pretty good SmackDown. I just finally got the chance to finish it. I finished it last night. I gotta say, it's good to see Breezango back. Breezango back. I thought that was awesome. I didn't see, and let me know if I missed it. Maybe I fast forwarded through it too fast. What was going on Wednesday night? I had a lot of TV to watch. If something was going on last Wednesday night, I think I was doing some fantasy football stuff. My fantasy football team's awful. My fantasy football team is so bad that on Sundays when football starts, my fantasy football players kneel. They kneel knowing, man, I can't stand being on this brother's team. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand that your boy Ben Goosen signed me to this broke-ass team. My team is horrible. Niggas got the worst team in the history of the earth. This team is absolutely terrible. That's how bad my team is. My players kneel when they know they got to be in my starting lineup this weekend. OBJ didn't kneel. He just broke his foot. OBJ didn't kneel. He broke his foot because he was so damn tired of being on my crap fantasy football team. enough about fantasy football. It's a wrestling podcast. So we talk about other stuff. Again, hit us up, IRWP.us, Real Ben Goosen, Sage the Mark on Twitter. We're out there. Talk to us. We've been around a year now. Got a lot of followers, got a lot of listeners. We're on to SmackDown. So Carmella, is she on some losing streak? Are they having her? I mean, we see a lot of people with the Money in the Bank briefcase. We see a lot of them lose right before they cash it in. Lose 3-4 matches, and then they cash it in, and it makes it that much more special when they do cash it in. A little bit different. Spice up the game, but she's losing a lot. I don't know when she's going to cash it in. I think she'll probably cash it in on Charlotte and lose it again, so it'll pad Charlotte's numbers. But hey, you know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see. I think I'm interested to see what's going to go on in the women's division on SmackDown. Obviously, they're not going to get any NXT women anytime soon. With Asuka going to Raw in 2 weeks. Asuka's going to Raw in 2 weeks, so I don't foresee really any of the other one. I think Ember Moon's probably going to get a title run. But we might have a Peyton Royce sighting or something like that on SmackDown. On SmackDown coming up. But hey, you don't know. We can never tell. We'll see, though. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce may show up. Nice little twosome on SmackDown. We did get one match that I enjoyed. AJ Styles. That man can do anything. I'm telling you. He might be going for back-to-back Superstar of the Year. Easily. Back-to-back. Might be going for Superstar of the Year back-to-back. He had a great match. What I thought was a great match against Baron Corbin. And it was hot off the heels of Hell in a Cell. So it was your token rematch. And Corbin, as far as I know, in my eyes, he got the fair win. That's what was great about it. And that's the thing is AJ Styles is so good. He doesn't need a chip. He doesn't need a championship. He's just good. And plus, at the end of the day, whether you're a mark, you're a kid, woman, man, old man, you're an AJ Styles fan. If you're a wrestling fan, everybody likes him. He could turn heel and be a cool heel. He could be a face and be a cool face. I bet that dude's making a lot of money on merch because he's got the gloves and all that. But it was great to see Baron Corbin get a clean win. I think we all know that this means that AJ Styles is going to move up to the main roster, the main event scene. Now I think about it, he's probably, I don't know. I've told y'all before, I don't read a lot of the dirt sheets, but he's probably going to end up somewhere along the lines of crossing paths with Jinder after this Nakamura thing's done. And whenever they're going to India, that's gotten a lot of hype on from the WWE Twitter feed and all that. And maybe we'll get an AJ Styles, Jinder Mahal feud. AJ ends up getting the title back. Shinsuke wins the Royal Rumble, and it sets us up for Shinsuke versus AJ Styles. I think I said it last week. I hope Shinsuke and Roman Reigns are the last two in the Royal Rumble because everybody's going to think Roman Reigns is going to eliminate Shinsuke Nakamura. That's the way I would book it. Or what if it's the Shield? What if Nakamura wins the title and holds it till WrestleMania? And it's the Shield and the Bullet Club, the final three. Final six. That'd be pretty interesting stuff, just from a storyline perspective. Think about it. But when I say Bullet Club, I don't mean Gallows and Anderson and Finn. I mean, if it's the Shield, you have to have all four of the Bullet Club. You got to have Finn Balor, Gallows and Anderson, and AJ Styles, and the Shield, the final seven in the Royal Rumble. That'd be crazy. And I'll get into my thoughts on the Shield reunion here in a sec. Hey, listen. We also had Rude continuing his feud with Ziggler, but there's a match that I kind of like. I don't know what the point of it was, but it was Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Rusev and Aiden English. Hey, I'm not going to lie. I kind of like the Aiden English Rusev. I don't know if they're a new tag team or going to be a new tag team, but for some reason, I don't know. I think I could dig these guys. Aiden English to me is funny. I think if he's good in the ring, he could kind of be like a moderate version of Elias. They're kind of the same thing anyways. both heels, natural heels. Their gimmicks make them natural heels in general. But I think that they could be, I don't know, I think they could be something good. But this match, maybe it showed us that the next thing up is Nakamura versus Rusev. And heaven forbid, I don't know if they would do an Aiden English Randy Orton feud, but maybe it's Nakamura versus Rusev. Maybe that's the next feud. I don't know. I think that could be an interesting feud. Both can go in the ring. Both are solid in the ring. Rusev can sell the strong style, but also bully around and beat up Nakamura. It could be something pretty interesting, I think. What do y'all think? I think it could be something pretty interesting. AJ Styles losing. Rusev and Aiden English losing. Sami Zayn comes out, talks about his best friend. They've known each other forever. I thought SmackDown was pretty decent. You know what? It reminds me, actually. We have a new tag team coming up. Rowan and Harper are coming back. Look, then they're going to carry big hammers. I don't remember what they were called on themselves. The Hammer Brothers or something like that. I don't know what their gimmick's going to be. They look the exact same. They're wearing a little bit different stuff. I'm just glad to see Harper back because the dude can go. I don't know if they were injured or whatnot, but the dude can go. He could work. The dude can go in the ring. So there's no worries about him at all. I think that, man, I'm pumped. Just the fact that I get to see him come back. He's got a lot going in his way. Tons going for him. You know, hopefully they get a nice tag team run. And it's different because they don't really have two big, they call them bruiser weights. They don't have these big heavyweight bruisers that'll hit you hard, that'll clothesline the hell out of you, that'll come in and just annihilate the place. They have it in NXT with the AOP, but they just don't have it in the WWE. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that. I mean, Heavy Machinery, those are two big dudes, but they don't have that anywhere on the main roster. So big shout out to Erick, Rowan, and Luke Harper for not going on Instagram and Twitter and all that, complaining about not being on the main roster, starting to badmouth it. I was watching something with Fandango. No, I was listening to Fandango. Breezango was on Talk is Jericho, another podcast, wrestling podcast. Make sure you check it out. And Fandango was actually talking about how he wasn't being used, and he was sour grapes backstage at some point about how he was negative, almost like a negative Nancy in the back. You know, why am I not being used? Kind of sitting there and soaking himself, and why am I not being there? And then he hit him one day. I'm going to go get myself on TV. I'm going to stay busy. There's people who do work that are backstage and they film stuff just for the WWE network. And how do you think the Fashion Files were born? Just like that. They filmed it for the WWE network. It worked. It stuck. It was perfect. And it worked. So I don't even know where I was going with that. I blanked out. So I started thinking about trying to come up with an analogy of something that could stick on a wall when I said it stuck. And the first thing I thought about was if I picked up some dog shit, do it against a wall, fresh dog shit, do it against a wall, would it stick? And then I got zoned out, started talking about Breezango. Yeah, I know where I was going with it. I was going to say it was good that Harper and Rowan didn't sit there and cry and complain and bitch and moan about not being used at all. And these guys keep getting kind of repackaged, but they keep getting used. They've left the Wyatts, rejoined the Wyatts, broken up, split up, had some great matches. If you remember, Harper had that pretty interesting feud with Randy Orton around this time last year. Hell of a feud. Great match, too. That one was actually on SmackDown Live when SmackDown Live had a good run. But enough about SmackDown Live. Let me get into some Raw. I'm not going to go match by match with you. It's not really our style. We did about a year ago, but not so much now. It just wasn't working. I don't know if we tried. We didn't instinctively get rid of it on purpose. It was just time to switch the game up a little bit. And we were just, we figured, let's just talk. Let's just talk. I'm tired of going by, hey, this match happened. Let's talk about it. This match happened. Let's talk about it. Picked up a dub. I don't know if I'm not feeling it or what. I don't know if I'm just not getting into Jason Jordan or I'm just good in the ring. I was talking to Dabi Amore, former guest of ours, and he brought up a good point. He said, he's good, got the look, big guy, just no charisma. And you haven't really heard him on the mic. Just nothing sucks you into the guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is. It's just something that's just not, I don't know. Maybe we all see the future heel in him. I mean, it's eventually coming, regardless of if it's in a month or a year or two now. But I don't know if pairing him with Matt Hardy was a good thing. Maybe so, just to bite time until Jeff Hardy comes back. Because we all want to see Matt Hardy as broken, heel or face. He'll be one of those in-between guys anyways if he comes back as broken. And, I don't know. I know more to come on him. I'm just not digging it so far. What else happened on Raw? Oh, how can I not talk about this? Shield got back together. Do I care? No, not much. And it's because I have a problem, and I've got to get over the fact that the Shield will come out to Roman Reigns' theme song. It's the same theme. If you look at it, Roman doesn't dress any different. I've got to get over it. When they eventually come out, I assume it's going to be at TLC together. I got to remember, get over it. That's what I got to tell myself. Get over it and enjoy it. So what if it's Roman Reigns' song? So what if Roman Reigns is wearing the exact same thing? Though I still am pulling for the Ambrose heel turn. Ambrose doing to the Shield what Mr. Burn It Down did it a couple years ago. The Architect, Seth Rollins. Kind of hoping for that. Be a nice little heel turn, heel run for Dean Ambrose. But I'll get into it. So I'm not going to lie. When they all came to the ring together, I thought, and did the triple powerbomb, I thought, all right. Man, it's getting pumped. These guys are getting the mega pop. This thing is pretty big. And then when they came out, after Braun Strowman whooped up on old Matt Hardy, the unbroken one, I honestly thought, man, look at these dudes. They're coming out here, and they all got beef with Strowman. And Strowman was the big dog. He didn't back down at all. He started the fight. And then they hit the triple powerbomb. I dug it. Because if you remember when the Shield was together back in the day, they didn't care if you were one person, 2, 3. They were the pack of wolves. They would surround you in the ring and just take you out. Remember them beating up The Undertaker? Put him through a table. So it's stuff like that. I did that, and I'm like, man, they came back to doing what they were doing years ago. Absolutely years ago, and it was great. I loved it. So I did get into it a little bit. Hopefully the first time we hear, like Sage the Mark talked about last week, the first time we hear Sierra Hotel, Echo, India, Lima, Delta, the Shield. Did I spell that wrong? I made fun of Sage for spelling that wrong last week. But you hear that sound, that music, and they come through the crowd, and they have their outfits. Hopefully they got the mask that they wore at WrestleMania a few years back when they fought Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg Jesse James. I think that could be nostalgic. They haven't even been broken up that long, though, too. So that's another thing. Only, 2 years? 3 years? Something like that. So it hasn't been that long. Yeah, it was nice to see him beat up Braun. Braun puts himself into that TLC match that they're going to have. So now it's a 4-on-3. Enzo, he was almost like, Cruiserweight's got some love. Let me backtrack. Cruiserweight's got some love on Raw this week. And the Cruiserweights are continuing to get some love. The Cruiserweights got some love. They had the Enzo segment. They had an Enzo segment. And then they had a match, tag team match. And then they had Enzo in the main event. So I'm digging the Enzo feud with the Cruiserweights. He's a heel, and he could help put the Cruiserweight division over just by his mic skills. Chances are he's probably going to end up a manager at some point. Maybe. I haven't seen much of him in the ring to say he's great, but I like how he's playing the character now. I don't know if he's good or bad in the ring. I didn't see any of his singles work ever. But that he's not very good in the ring, but he'll cheat to win. And I think that I didn't get a chance to watch 205 Live this week, but I think he's going to whine and complain, especially next week on Raw, about how he got gypped out of the title by, like a damn near 11-on-1 match, because the Lumberjacks obviously weren't there to help him out. So I thought that Callisto getting the W was a little bit different. Hopefully, this leads to a nice little feud with Enzo and Callisto. I know that they're going to fight at TLC. I know they're going to fight at the upcoming TLC pay-per-view to mend the fences. I think that I do want to see. Enzo has gotten me into the 205 division. I'll say that. Enzo has gotten me into 205 Live. I've watched a couple of episodes. He's gotten me into the cruiserweight division because I want to see who's going to beat him, who's going to shut him up if Neville can do it, which I'll get into Neville in a minute. That was big news. Came out 2 days ago. But I love what I see right now with Enzo and the cruiserweights. I think it's amazing. It's just entertaining, and it's also putting a spotlight back on the cruiserweight division. These guys are professionals. You know what I'm saying? These guys are professionals. And Enzo, again, he said, yeah, I'll fight, but only if I'm in the main event. And we'll get into the reasoning behind if he was truly supposed to be in the main event and all that good stuff here in a bit. We had a women's match. It was for Winter Fights Asuka. I can't wait to see Emma versus Asuka. Should be pretty good. So last week, I touched on this a little bit earlier at the start of the podcast. Last week, we had a discussion on what we wanted to see from Sister Abigail, and it looks like they're going to be going forward with Bray Wyatt being Sister Abigail, so I'm totally fine with it. I hope he wears a dirty old swamp dress and maybe does something or changes up his hair. I don't know if he's going to wear a mask or if he's going to wear some face paint like the Demon. I don't know if we're going towards a Demon versus Sister Abigail match. Obviously, Sister Abigail is going to win her debut. She should. I just don't want to see a Demon versus Sister Abigail match that results in one of them losing, because I like the idea of the Demon being undefeated up until a certain point, and it shouldn't be. If he loses, well, I guess it doesn't matter, because I think he lost in NXT to, I believe, Samoa Joe, if I remember right. Yeah, so maybe it doesn't matter. But I do like the idea of if they go with a Demon versus Sister Abigail match, all of the maybe pyro and special effects and everything they're going to pull out for that match, because it's going to be a crazy match. I'm looking forward to seeing what Bray does in 2 weeks. We got a hint last week of Sister Abigail with, I think it was, I don't know if it was a layover on the screen or they faded into Bray with his makeup on, but that he talked different. It was silly, but it brings out the child in us. It was witch-like, but it was just something silly. I enjoyed it. It was fun. And it's going to be good. We got a good feud. It's a long-standing feud. This feud's kind of ran a long time, but it'll be interesting. And it'll be nice to see that, assuming Sister Abigail gets the win, that we're probably going to see Sister Abigail at least once a year. So you heard it last week. We called it. It's probably going to be Bray and Drag, which I'm a fan of. Total fan of. Now let's get into kind of the meat and potatoes. This week, breaking news. Don't know if it's true or not. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. The breaking news of the week is about Adrian Neville, the king of the cruiserweights, Adrian Neville, and his status in the WWE. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts. At Real Ben Goosen. Is he still with the WWE? Is he not? Big word out. And normally I don't pay attention to the dirt sheets, but I logged into Twitter to look something up and Neville was trending. So obviously I had to look at that. And there's talks of him asking for his release. WWE hasn't said anything yet, so they obviously hadn't granted anything to him yet. He's in the prime of his career in the WWE. So if he leaves right now, New Japan would take him up in a heartbeat. ROH, which I said I'm going to in a month, they'd snatch him up in a heartbeat and he'd do great. Could you imagine Neville on the indie scene? Neville would do amazing things. He'd make big money. He'd do a lot on the indie scene. And who knows, because a lot of people have joined it at some point, he'd probably join the Bullet Club. Amazing work to be done if he decides to go that route and join them. So you just never know. I hope he's not gone. Word out there is that he was supposed to fight Enzo in a non-title match and lose, and he just wasn't feeling it, so he took off. Never do that. Never do that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to today, you're listening to the show, if you're mad at work, you can't leave. That's one thing I don't understand about wrestlers. They feel like they can leave. I work in a corporate environment. If I get up and I tell my boss, no, I don't like that, and I leave, I'm going to have a write-up. And most of us will. You're going to have a write-up. You're going to have something sitting on your desk waiting for you tomorrow saying, sign this. Don't ever do that bullshit again. You hear me? Ever. So if you're a wrestler, you got to understand. If you're not happy, it's a TV show. It's a TV show. We've all seen some of the biggest TV shows of all time. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite TV shows is The Walking Dead. You know why I like The Walking Dead? Because if you're on that show and you're an actor and you say, hey, why does Rick Grimes get paid more than me? That ain't fair. I want to get paid more or else I'm not going to show up. They will kill your ass. They'll say, all right, zombies are going to eat you next week. What did you say again? That's why I like the show. They'll write you off the show without thinking. But it's a TV show. Wrestling is a TV show. I know you want TV time. You're competitive. There's more money in TV time, I'm sure, somehow, some way. More exposure or something. But you can't just walk out on your employer. And there's no situation where you could just walk out on your employer because you're unhappy with something outside of sexual harassment, discrimination, and all that good stuff. There's no reason to walk out on your employer. Maybe actresses who are dealing with Hollywood executives and producers, they could walk out because that has to do with sexual harassment. You could walk out on that, but just if you don't like, if you're going to win a scripted match, oh man, you can't walk out like that. And as wrestlers, you got to remember, if you walk out, you're leaving us fans wondering, wait a minute, I like seeing you on TV. I like your matches. I like what you've done in the cruiserweight division. So I hope for the life of me that Neville is not gone. Hopefully they're just giving him some time off. Because I thought at the end of all this, he could have had a good run in the cruiserweight division, even though he's cleared out most of it. I think that there was a couple feuds that he really, really could have had, especially if they were long-standing feuds and not just 2-week feuds that led to a 205 Live title shot and called it a day. Or hell, if he was really unhappy, have him go on a tirade, beat up Enzo, and say, I've cleared out the cruiserweight division. I'm just too good for it. I'm way too good for the cruiserweight division. He doesn't have to get the title back in the cruiserweight division. He's just got to beat up Enzo. That's it. Go out and destroy Enzo. That's what I would do. I'd have him destroy Enzo Amore 2 or 3 weeks in a row and complain about not getting a title shot. Use some of the real life stuff going on. Complain about not getting a title shot. And then you ship him over to SmackDown. You already have Black Neville on one show. You don't need another Neville on the same show. You ship him over to SmackDown, and he could fight for the U.S. title. He'd be able to do work. Imagine if a heel Neville that talked all this trash to everybody went up against AJ Styles. You'd have a hell of a match. You'd have a great match. He could work with just about anybody. You could work with Baron Corbin. You can work with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that could come of Neville going to SmackDown. Sami Zayn. He could even start a little clique with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and talk about how they're not from America, but not be super anti-American. Kevin Owens isn't. I think it could be a real good turnout. Just something completely different. Something that is evocative. And they would just completely make him happy because he's on a different show. Oh, man, he'd have a hell of a match with Shelton Benjamin, too. So listen, a lot went on this week. Wonderful world of wrestling. A lot went on. We had a good show. Good week of wrestling this week. We had some stuff going on in the mainstream. You got to stay out of it. I got to tell you today about my fantasy football team that sucks. I don't even know what I did wrong in my fantasy football team. I thought I had a good draft. But I got to tell you about my fantasy football team that went wrong. You had to hear a lot this week. Hey, listen, everybody, I appreciate you chiming in. Hit us up. You know, we're going to have to keep it real. Shout outs will be delayed. We're going to get to those next week when my boy Sage Mark is back. Y'all know that's his thing that he does. He's a fan of going through all that stuff. That's his neck of the woods, if you want to say that. So I'll tell you what. Let's wrap it up this week. I'm your boy Ben Goosen. Sage Mark will be back next week. Shout outs to Sage Mark. Hope you're doing all right, dog. Have a safe flight. Everybody, hopefully, hit up Neville. Tell him you appreciate him. I'm your boy Ben Goosen. And as always, keep it real. Hey, what is up, everybody? Hey, go ahead and visit IRWP.us. Thank you for listening to today's show. We had a heck of a show today. Go ahead, visit, donate, help us out. Our Patreon account is on IRWP.us. And remember, the views and opinions expressed today are that of the host, not of the IRWP. A lot of bad stuff going on in the world today, but just remember, stay positive, say what's up to another wrestling fan, and hey, gangsters, keep it real.